Hey guys, hope you're well. Wanted to do a quick live stream. I was going to talk about the stock market really tanking today, but I was on the CNBC homepage and this article came up. I read just uh, bits and pieces of it. And I just started laughing and just shaking my head, saying, this just can't be real. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that Teslas are bad cars. You can like them, love them, whatever. I mean, they're fast as hell. You got to give them. I mean, they're super cool. I've seen them run the quarter mile, and their 0 to 60-foot time is just unbeatable. I mean, it's like a top fuel dragster. So you got to give them a hat tip there. They're pretty damn cool. But at what point does the stock market and the Tesla fanatics just call BS on Musk? I mean, it's like, come on. I mean, there's some things that he's done that I respect tremendously, but other things, it's just like, come on, man. I mean, the guy is just lying through his teeth, and it's just so obvious that what he's doing, and it's so obvious that he's manipulating the market, and he's getting away with it, and the SEC is just turning their head in the other direction, and he's just so obviously just a salesman and just telling people whatever they need to hear in order to get their money. I mean, you can say, oh, that's just Elon, or you can be a big fan of his. So be it. But I mean, come on, you gotta call a spade a spade. And even if there's someone out there that you're a big fan of, if they do something that's just blatantly dishonest, I mean, come on, you got to call them out on that. And so let's go to this article, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Now I could go down a list of things that Musk has done. I mean, such as selling the whole self-driving thing, and or the autonomous driving, and calling it that, and it's not really that. And I mean, there's a lot of things that he does that ethically is incredibly shady. I mean, and people just dismiss it as, oh, that's just Elon being Elon. Okay. And I'm not saying that there aren't things that he's done that I respect tremendously. But let's go to this article. You'll see what I'm talking about. So as most of you know, about a month ago or 2 months ago, Elon Musk announced that not only did Tesla own 1.5 billion in Bitcoin, it was on their balance sheet, but they would start accepting Bitcoin for car purchases. Well, now they're walking that back. But look at the excuse that he's giving. I mean, come on. I mean, he can't come out and say that they're a little concerned about the volatility in Bitcoin. I mean, just come out and say it, dude. That you guys get the Bitcoin, you got to turn it into dollars. And because of the volatility, you know, if that takes you a half an hour or something like that, the price move can be significant. And I think that there was some clause in there that said that if the price moved too much, that the purchaser would have to compensate them for the difference between the dollars and the value of the Bitcoin. But if it moved in Tesla's favor, that they wouldn't reimburse the person, that they'd get a pocket the spread. Schiff was talking about something like that on his podcast. So that in and of itself was kind of like, okay, well, that, I guess people are just going to give him a pass on that one. But this is just taking the ridiculous to the completely absurd. I mean, he says Teslas will stop accepting Bitcoin for car purchases, citing environmental concerns. What? Okay. So the key bullet point: Tesla has suspended vehicle purchases using Bitcoin out of concern over rapidly increasing use of fossil fuels for mining Bitcoin. I mean, if this if you're a big fan of Tesla, I mean, or of Elon Musk, I mean, how do you justify this? I just can't understand. It's just that story of the emperor wearing no clothes, and everyone just says, "Oh yeah, he's wearing clothes." Yeah, and it just comes to a point where there's just a little kid that just points and says, "No, he doesn't have any clothes on." What? Where? When is that? When are we going to get to that point with Elon Musk? Because it's got to come at some point in time. I mean, he can't just keep saying things and just kind of lying and lying, and people just slough it off and just or shrug it off. And here's my point. So, and notice in his tweet, I think they've got it here. We are concerned about rapidly increasing use of fossil fuels for Bitcoin mining and transactions, especially coal, which has the worst emission of any fuel. Cryptocurrency is a good idea. We believe it has a promising future, but this cannot come at great cost to the environment. I mean, Tesla will not be selling any Bitcoin, and we intend to use it for transactions as soon as mining transitions to more suitable energy. We are also looking at other cryptocurrencies that use less than 1% of Bitcoin's energy per transaction. So, who is it in the media that is going to point at Musk on this and say, dude, you are absolutely full of your own BS? This is the pot calling the kettle black. How can you be this much of a hypocrite? How? So what am I referring to? Notice what he's saying. We are concerned about the rapidly increasing use of fossil fuels for Bitcoin mining. You see what he didn't say? This is another way to say the exact same thing. We are concerned about rapidly increasing use of electricity that is generated by fossil fuels for Bitcoin mining and transactions. Why didn't he say it like that? Because he sells electric cars. So are you telling me that Bitcoin takes as much energy as if the entire world was driving a Tesla or an electric car? I mean, come on. I know Bitcoin takes a lot of energy, but if I don't know how many cars there are in the world, let's say there's a billion cars or something like that. If all billion cars were electric, you're telling me that wouldn't take more electricity than Bitcoin and therefore use more fossil fuels than Bitcoin. He's saying that he doesn't want to take Bitcoin because they use fossil fuels, yet he's selling a vehicle that is powered by electricity, that is generated from fossil fuels, especially coal. I mean, I just can't believe no one calls him out on this. And when I mean no one, I'm talking about his fans, his customers, or the mainstream media. I mean, come on. How does he get away with this? Geez. Wow. It's just a case study in building a powerful brand, that his brand is so powerful that he can literally come out and say things like this and get away with it. It's just, wow. And I got to stick up for the Bitcoin, the maximalists, and a lot of the Bitcoiners that have, some of them have given me a hard time for kind of trying to poke holes in the whole Bitcoin being the global reserve currency. It may or may not, but I think they attach a higher, they attach a certainty to it. And I just try to attach a probability to it. So they have pushed back, to say the least, on me from time to time. But one of the things, real smart guys that I really like Nick Carter and Robert Breedlove, who's going to be at Rebel Capitalist Live, by the way. One of the things they point out that the amount of electricity used that's kind of fake news when it comes. I know that it uses a massive amount of electricity, but there was something they were saying there that it's a little deceiving, and that it doesn't use as much, or a lot of the electricity isn't necessarily coming from fossil fuels. There's something to that effect. But regardless, that doesn't change my point. And that's that Elon Musk is just, this is the pot calling the kettle black. And to just, what it does is for any thinking person, it just shows that he's lying. He's lying because he's making up this excuse that makes no sense whatsoever. In fact, if he's going to argue that he shouldn't take Bitcoin because it uses so much electricity, then that same argument should be used for not buying a Tesla. And you guys probably know more about the energy consumption than I do. Let me go through the comments here. Yeah, so Standing Mannequin says the whole energy consumption bit has been debunked. Yeah, I know that Carter and Breedlove were talking about that. Those are two guys in the space that I really enjoy listening to. Some of them are a little, they get a little obnoxious, but yeah, and he's out there with this Doji coin thing. I mean, it's just like, he's just, I don't know, he just oozes. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. He just doesn't seem like someone that's really trustworthy. I mean, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but it just, every single thing he does, it just adds more and more fuel to the fire, no pun intended, of it just seeming like the guy is just he just lies constantly. I've always said that Trump and Elon are like two peas in a pod. I mean, I think they're very, very similar in their personalities and their approach. And I know that just freaks people out that like Trump, and it freaks people out that like Elon. But think about how they kind of their MO and how they operate, and with the whole Twitter. I mean, they're very similar, and their ego and everything. It's interesting. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. Make sure you check out the interview tonight on the George Gammon channel. You're going to love it. My good buddy Robert Barnes, who gives an update on what he's doing with the whole, or what we're doing with the old Fed lawsuit and requesting information through the FOIA, the Freedom of Information Act. And also we go into some incredibly timely topics right now that I think are on the forefront of everyone's thought process, probably daily. And that is, number one, these vaccine passports. We discussed that and the legality behind that to a great degree. We talk about how on earth the CDC can be in charge of rent or eviction moratoriums, and a lot of other things that we talk about. The wealth tax, the legality behind that, having a global wealth tax, a global income tax. Again, a lot of the topics that I think probably most of you on this live stream right now have been thinking through and have been on the forefront of your mind. So let's do some shout outs. We got Emma Weber, Moody the Millennial, Malaysia, Numismatic, Carlos Danger, Kevin Glick, James Dickie Dunn, Kevin Schmidt, Rally Repairs. Dickie Dunn, good to see you, buddy. I haven't seen you on here in one of these live streams in quite a while. We got Jake Spice, El Chomio, Amy K. Angelique is in the house. Bear R, no way, Jose. Nicole M, Sue Davidson, Aiden Nolan, Adam Ahmed, Yeren, Mitchell Goslin, Patrick Coleman, Heroin Guy. We got Heroin Guy. I haven't used Heroin Guy in a video in probably like a couple months. I got to get Heroin Guy back into the mix. Heroin Guy is awesome. And he with the 2 X's for his eyes. Tomorrow, I was just drawing step 1 for tomorrow's whiteboard video. And I put Moody Millennial in there. So you guys can get your Moody fix in tomorrow's whiteboard video. Got Anthony Court in the house. Mark McGee. Michael Rarbaugh. Harris Asif. Lalo Kara. Andrew Kelly, Carlos Otera, Luke De Celis, Jonathan, pooed in the cereal. Oh, that's a good one. Peter Frauen. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your evening, and I will see you over on the George Gammon channel in about an hour and 15 minutes. 9 o'clock Eastern time. We'll see you there.